As you can see, we got our upper and lower control arms on, our coilover mounted. I still need to put some weight on this in order to get the top bushing in. All I've got is the washer and the nuts holding it. These I'm probably going to run into a little bit of a problem when I go to put the spindle on. These springs are so stiff right now without an engine sitting in the car. I put the jack under here and the car comes up off the jack stands before I get enough compression, get it together enough to start the bushing on the top of the shock there. But I imagine I'm going to run into the same problem when I go to bolt this spindle in. She'll start lifting up before I actually get it close enough for the ball joints to seat there. I may need to get creative, or at least put the rear end, set it down on the ground with the tires, so that even if I do pick the front of the whole car up off the jack stands, it'll be less likely to shift and fall on me. Not on me, but fall off the jack stands. I got the spindle soaking in in my parts cleaner. I'm going to give that a nice once over with the wire brush and whatnot before I throw it in here. Might as well clean up some of the old parts that are going back in as I've got them apart and accessible. That's about it for right now. I think I'll bolt up the new steering box. That was part of the suspension kit. Comes with a steering box that has a slightly higher gear ratio, so it's fewer steering wheel turns lock to lock. It just gives you a little better road feel rather than the stock box, which is kind of overpowered, as many of these GM and larger cars of the day were. So we'll throw that in there, and then I'm going to have to go looking for the rest of this kit, because the tie rod ends and all that are somewhere around the house. Since our front suspension pieces are in, aside from tying the upper and lower A-arms with the spindle, we're going to move on to replacing some of the rear suspension parts. And this is the collection I have. We got our lowering springs. They're like I said, I believe it was a 2-inch all-around lowering kit. These springs are obviously a little bit stiffer than the stockers, so it will give us a little better handling with a little lower ride height. These guys here are our lower trailing arms. One with what UMI calls a roto joint. It's actually kind of like a Heim joint. There's a kind of a ball inside the Delrin housing. Greasable. These little guys tie into the side of it and stiffen up the whole assembly. Then we have our uppers, which are adjustable, which will allow us to trim the pinion angle to where we like it. There's a new set of polyurethane bushings that go in the upper mounts on the axle itself. And then we got our regular shocks. It's not a coilover setup, but basically the same deal, double adjustable shock. So we'll crawl up under there, and they suggest replacing these one at a time so that it doesn't, you don't have to try and balance the axle. If you were to cut loose, you know, two of the uppers or two of the lowers to where it's going to roll on you. So we'll cut loose one, replace the piece, the next, and next, and next, till we've got it all replaced with this shiny new stuff. Okay, this bit of the video is going to be a little bit screwy because I don't have enough room to lay down on the creeper and look at these upright. So half of this is going to be at an angle and half of it's going to be upside down. But we've got our upper trailing arms, the adjustable ones, in. Our lower trailing arms in, if you can see that there. Our springs are in place, and our new shocks. The only thing is, with the old shocks, the maximum length on them actually kept the old springs seated, whereas these allow the old coil spring to come away from the seat. So when it does come time to set this thing back on the ground, I'm going to have to make sure that the coil is pointed in the correct direction to hit that register once the weight sits down on it. As you can see, the way it sits, it's off by quite a bit. So I'll have to creep up under here as we get a little bit more weight on it. But everything went fairly smoothly. Unfortunately, the bolts they supplied for these shocks were too large to go through the existing hole in the frame, and I probably should have just drilled it out, but I reused the old bolts, and they're a hair short, but I think it'll work. Obviously, everything is bolted up. Didn't break any bolts. The big pain was just getting a backup in the correct place. I used my impact for a lot of it just because they allowed for quite a bit of extra thread on a lot of these bolted connections. So with that it's not, well, I suppose it equates to like a nylock nut. It's kind of got an interference fit on the top end of the nut. So once you get it, the width of the nut onto the bolt, you start hitting resistance. So you're having to fight it from that far all the way up to tight. And it just was a pain. So I opted to use the impact. I don't usually do that just because if you got older bolts and nuts, they if there's debris in the threads and whatnot, hitting them with that impact just has all the more potential for galling threads and, you know, just heating up too much and basically tearing threads off old bolts to where you're basically welding this nut to the bolt. And the next time you go to pull it off there, it's a no-go. But everything worked out. So I think we'll throw the rear tires on here, set it down on the ground, make sure our springs are in the right place as we do that. And then put the front spindles on. So right now my engine hoist doesn't have enough arm to get the motor all the way out there before the jack itself hits the bumper. And I don't believe just pulling the bumper will give me enough space, because I actually need probably about a foot more to get it all the way back there. Right now I just set it down in there, and I'll figure out, maybe I'll modify my engine hoist so the arm is longer. The only thing is once you push the mast out further, you kind of go over center of the legs, the outriggers themselves, and you kind of create a tipping situation. I don't know. I'll probably pull the bumper off to get a little bit more. For the most part, I was just kind of getting an idea of how high this thing is going to sit. I think the springs that I opted for in the suspension kit, they were, I don't know, they're maybe a 1.5 or 2 inch drop, but that was with a small block Chevy first gen, which is heavier than this LS motor. I may have to pull the springs and swap them out in order to have the front ride height correct. I think I'll obviously proceed with the install. We have we're short maybe 100 and some odd pounds worth of front end gear, radiator, the hood, maybe the battery. We'll get it sitting in here the way it should with all the other accessories and extra weight on there before I decide on whether I need to buy myself a different set of springs. Just remains to be seen.